Hebrews that stand and walk with the Lord's statutes and commandments of the Most High, and we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see them right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to flee for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our food to put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they rob a link of shit tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, died from an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry from an Israelite. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, died from an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry from an Israelites. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites.
Yahshua, sons of the power, rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms, never getting treatment. Something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream of life. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, died from an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry from the Israelites. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, died from an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry from the Israelites. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, put it work in trenches. Making sure I'm election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love and reflection, no matter what the complexion. We got a common connection, a part of God's selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every fight. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price. So who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, died from an Israelite. Blood of the Israelites, cry from the Israelites. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, died from the Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry from the Israelites. Go through it cause we're Israelites. One Yahshua Allah to all my Israelites. Let's have fun with it.
Uh-oh, step up on the scene. Catching that.
Y'all can't fuck with us on no level. They snitches, man. Let me tell you something. Talking about, I'm calling the police. If you have a warrant, I'm turning you in. Jesus Christ had a warrant, nigga. Fuck wrong with you? Judas ass niggas turn them in for 30 shekels. That's that $2,000 reward. All y'all pussy and y'all hate your people.
I ain't never do it. This shit is vanity. If I didn't do it, I know you'll be mad at me.
So this what they wanted, so this what it had to be. I gotta burn up these dudes like a calorie. They need to hang that shit up like a gallery. Everything that they be preaching is fallacy. Actually, they never left Christianity. All of that purple, no originality. So easy questioning your sexuality. Cut all the noise, kill all the faggots for you to police. That's the reality. Finance is school or police mentality. I do not mess with no swine like an allergy. Turn on the news, see all the brutality. Assault and battery, all the fatalities put on a bag. They murder us happily. Out here, you have no sense of morality. Cater to women, I give you the strategy. Semen mentality, modern day Pharisees. Burning phylactery, vicious insanity. Came from a western, you have the audacity. You bite the hand that is fed to the blasphemy. These niggas crazy. Like split personalities, arrested a nigga. They teach on the Sabbath day, white supremacy. All of your spirituality, my hangman said, get 'em. So here's the catastrophe, royalties after the time your anatomy. You are disgraceful to all nationality. I know that this gotta hurt like a cavity. Your wife cannot think you look like a manatee. Indirect sisters, y'all bitches is cowardly. Y'all niggas pussy, you think vulgarity. No folks are giving like chastity. Close to the edge, so I hop up the balcony. You niggas stick to the municipality. NYPD who be paying them hourly. You cannot stay with this out in this galaxy. You cannot fuck with us in no capacity. Woman's your father, your leader, your majesty. Honestly, there is no place that I'd rather be. You became ready for war like a Maccabee. Home with the truth and I'll die for my family. All these cats is bitches. They fuck with us on no level. They snitches, man. Let me tell you something. Talking about, I'm calling the police. If you have a warrant, I'm turning you in. Jesus Christ had a warrant, nigga. Judas ass niggas, turn them in for 30 shekels. That's that $2,000 reward. All y'all pussy and y'all hate your people, bitch.
Okay, we sitting here with Officer Cottazar, member of the I.S.U.P.K, coming out of 1 West 125th Street.
Damn right.
Sitting in the studio. A couple of questions I'm gonna throw at you.
All right.
Now, I hear you got a new track coming out.
Right.
And also here you founded one of the founding members of the Lost Tribe Project.
I gotta burn up these dudes like a calorie. They need to hang that shit up like a gallery. Everything that they be teaching is fallacy.
Okay. Now tell me about this new track. Give me a little something about that.
Okay, yeah, like you said, man, you know what I'm saying? Officer of the I.S.U.P.K, Israelite School, Universal and Practical Knowledge. Lost Tribe is a music group that, you know what I'm saying, me and my brother Dawud started. You know what I'm saying? As you can tell, you know what I'm saying, our narration describes the lives of the lost tribes in the ghetto trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? So, long story short, you know, I got this track coming out. It's called 30 Shekels.
Blasphemy. These niggas crazy. Like split personalities, arrested a nigga.
And represents a certain, you know what I'm saying, traitorous group. You know what I'm saying, similar to Judas. You know what I'm saying? Brothers who don't love their people, but basically, longer story short, there was an incident that took place in a so-called Hebrew Israelite group where a leader was exposed as not only a false prophet, a false leader, but a crooked cop.
I ain't wanna.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yashai Barak Thumb to all the brothers. That means Yahweh bless you in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of who the world calls Christ. And to you, sister, shalom, Yahweh Shamar Alathon Bashem Yahshai. That means may Yahweh watch over you, sisters, in the name of who the world calls Christ. I'm priest and officer of 50 Sharia 1, and we are the I.S.U.P.K, which was started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Understand? And we are under the authority, under the leadership of Commanding General YAHANNA. All right, this is Tuesday's night brotherhood class. Every Tuesday night, brothers in the I.S.U.P.K, priests and officers, priests and prophets are teaching the truth of the Bible. Every Tuesday, we're teaching brotherhood. All right, when you read this Bible, who the world calls the Holy Bible, the 1611 King James Bible, we read about stories about men and women, about how they obeyed the Father or disobeyed the Father. We read about men and women, of their stories of how they interacted with their brothers and sisters, of how they treated one another, of how they treated themselves, how they treated their wives, their kids, their kingdom, their land, how they moved and operated on this earth. and whether they did so according to the Most High or not. The Bible has stories about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. These are stories on how to deal with each other. All right. In this book, we have a lot of examples on how to treat each other properly. This Bible has laws, statutes, and commandments on how to deal with each other. Right? Rules, guidelines, and instructions, orders from the Most High on how to love another brother, on how to love another sister. All right. So this is Tuesday's night brotherhood class, and what this class is about is teaching brothers and sisters how to treat each other. Teaching brothers and sisters the importance of family. Teaching brothers and sisters on what we could do as a nation if we would come together and treat each other the way the Most High told us to treat each other. This class gives us the tools and the knowledge that we need for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come together. All right. In the I.S.U.P.K, we are not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group. We are not affiliated with any other camp. All right. We don't know what goes on in different church buildings, in different Israelite camps. We don't know what other people are teaching or doing according to the Bible. For that reason, we have no affiliation with them. All right. We've been teaching the truth of the Bible since 1969. All right. You don't believe it? Ask questions. See if there's any holes in what we teach. See if there's anybody that can defeat us when it comes to debating these scriptures. See if there's any other house who is doing and living according to the Bible. The reason I joined I.S.U.P.K is because I found men who were actually doing what the Bible says. All right. I was on a search for a long time to find the place that taught the truth of the Bible. For a long time, I was searching for a place that didn't have any holes in their understanding of the Bible. A place where people actually did what they said. All right. A place that wasn't full of hypocrites and hypocrisy. People who actually do what the word and what these words in the text say. All right. Some people ask, where is the word or where is the name I.S.U.P.K in the Bible? Right? And I can tell you, you are not going to find those exact words in the Bible. But what you will find are men and women who actually do what this word says. All right. When you read in Acts, Paul was telling the disciples that if you go into a place who is claiming to love God, a place who is claiming to teach the truth of the Bible, teach the words of the Most High, you'll be able to know them by their fruits. We don't have to worry about what the Christian pastors are teaching. We don't have to worry about what other Israelite camps are teaching. Because if it's not of God, it will fall. If it's not of the Most High, it will fail. You understand? You come into this place, you come into the I.S.U.P.K, you will find a place of refuge for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You'll find a place of rest, a place of salvation. And that's what we're giving the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's what we're giving to the children of God, the Israelites the Bible speaks of. And this brotherhood class is all about how we deal with one another, right? How we treat one another. Let's pull up a verse Let's go to the book of Matthew. And let's see what Christ said. So if we go to Matthew chapter 12 and verse 50, it says, Matthew 12 and verse 50 says, "For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother." All right, this is red letter in the Bible. Anytime you see red letter in the Bible, you know that's Christ speaking, Yahweh in the Hebrew. And this brother was telling us, whoever follows my Father, whoever does the will of my Father, who obeys him and does what he says, these are the people who are my family. You understand? And in the I.S.U.P.K, we do every word that Christ told us to do. We make it our job, our mission to do everything that Christ commanded us to do. This book is a book of laws, instructions, rules, and guidelines. And when Christ tells us to do something, we're supposed to do it. If you look at the Christian church, you see them saying the law is done away with. We don't have to keep the laws of God anymore. And what's crazy about that statement is, if I saw a brother on the street smoking cigarettes, I'd walk by that brother and be like, "Hey brother, smoking cigarettes is going to destroy you. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your life." 9 times out of 10, that brother or sister is going to say, I know this is bad for me. I know this is hurting me. I know this isn't good for me. Well, if you say the same thing to a Christian is going to say, don't judge me. A Christian is going to say, the laws are done away with. And it's madness. You understand? It's madness in the sense that when you tell somebody to better themselves, or when you try to give somebody a solution that will help them, that will make their life better, that will help their lungs, that will help their body, you try and tell a Christian pork is bad for you. It's destroying your life. It's hurting you. Christian is going to say, don't judge me. It's madness what they teach in the Christian church. Another brother or sister is trying to help you, trying to help heal you, and you don't want to hear it. And that was the same thing that went on with the Pharisees during Christ's time. Matter of fact, let's go into that. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 9 and verse 12. Because the Most High says, there's no new thing under the sun. There's no new man under the sun. There's no new spirit. The same people who were on the earth 2,000 years ago are the same people that are on earth today. When you go to Matthew chapter 9 and verse 12, it says, "But then Yahweh heard that. He said unto them, They that be whole need not a physician." These Christians, they believe they're whole. These Christians believe they're righteous. These Christians believe that they're living a good life, that they're doing what the Most High tells them to do. And Christ understood that. Somebody who is whole, somebody who is healthy, somebody who is righteous, They don't need a physician. They don't need help. Those Pharisees were walking around saying they knew the law. They understood the law. And that's exactly what these Christians do today. They think they're righteous. And a lot of those brothers and sisters, it's of no fault of their own. That's just how they were taught. They were taught self-hatred. They were taught to self-destruct. They were taught to be hypocrites. They were taught to be like the Pharisees. And when you believe you're righteous, but you're not, that's the definition of a hypocrite. You say you're righteous, you claim to be righteous, but you're not doing things that are righteous. You're not keeping the laws. You're not striving to be a good person. You have a self-defeated mentality. And that hypocrisy puffs them up. That hypocrisy has them walking around proud, like they know every goddamn thing. Let's keep reading. But when Yahushua heard that, he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. One of the reasons I'm in the I.S.U.P.K is because the I.S.U.P.K goes to those brothers and sisters who are sick. You understand? The men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, they have drug programs, prison programs. They teach on the street. They go to the ghettos and the reservations. They look for those that are sick and try to heal them. You understand? That's what a good brother does. It's what a good sister does. When you see your brother or sister struggling, you try to help them. You see your brother and sister going off into some danger, you try to help them. Christ taught blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians brotherhood, how to be good brothers and sisters to each other. You understand? So let's drop that. We got some articles we're going to get into. We got some good stories. Shout out to the chat. Shalom, Sarad, daughter of Zion. Yahweh Shemal Athon Bashim Yahushai. Water for tuning in, sis. Shalom, Officer Zabadia. Shalom, Adawan, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Brakatham. Water for tuning in, sir. All right. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we're in desperate need of brotherhood. We're in desperate need to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You understand? And we're going to find out why it's so important. You understand? This article that I have to share, it's an article of a brother. Salaki, let me pull this up. This is an article of a brother named Kristian, Ayoungman. Kristian, Ayoungman, he was murdered. You understand? He was murdered by a hunting rifle. He was shot as he was trying to get away. We're going to read a bit on this story. Salaki, just trying to pull it up. So this brother right here was in desperate need of some good brotherhood. You understand? This brother right here needed the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K. He needed warriors to stand up and protect him. And this is what the I.S.U.P.K. does. You understand? We don't just talk about it, we do it. So this is an article. It's titled Brandon Giffen, guilty of manslaughter in death of Alberta hockey player Kristian Ayoungman. It says, Brandon Giffen was found guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter and acquitted of murder in a virtual Calgary court decision on Monday. Responsible for the death of Kristian Ayoungman more than 2 years ago. All right, so this was a decision that was just made. This was posted on July 26th. All right, that was just a little over a week ago. And it says Ayoungman, a 24-year-old hockey player from Siksika Nation, was fatally shot in a vehicle near Strathmore on March 17th, 2019. I cannot conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused subjectively knew it was likely that death would result from him firing the rifle. Aiming and shooting the rifle was a shameful and reckless decision by the accused. But I cannot say the accused knew that death was the likely consequence of him doing so, said Court of Queen's Bench Justice. I got to read that again. So this is the Court of Queen's Bench Justice. The judge said, I cannot conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused subjectively knew it was likely that death would result from him firing the rifle. So the judge said, the person that was accused, the judge cannot conclude that this person knew that shooting this rifle, pulling the trigger, was going to take the life of this man. The judge says, aiming and shooting the rifle was a shameful and reckless decision by the accused. But I cannot say the accused knew that death was the likely consequence of him doing so. Now that statement to me sounds like madness. The judge just said that a man aimed the rifle. Matter of fact, let me pull up that word. What's the definition of aim? This is the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. The definition of aim says to direct a course, specifically to point a weapon at an object. Point, to direct toward a specified object or goal. The pointing of a weapon at a mark. Salakia, that sentence just sounds contradicting to me. The judge said aiming and shooting the rifle was a shameful and reckless decision by the accused. So the judge said, even though this person aimed the rifle at an object, the judge says, but I cannot say the accused knew that death was likely consequence. The judge cannot conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused subjectively knew it was likely that death would result from him firing the rifle. That's madness. Now, I can't say even if somebody wanted to kill somebody and take their life, does anybody really know if that bullet's going to kill them or not? Maybe if you stick that pistol down a man's throat, you know death is coming. But I can't say for certain anybody really knows what's going to happen when they pull that trigger. But what I will say is that if you are aiming a weapon at somebody, Salaki, not even a weapon, if you are aiming a gun, Salaki, like Officer Zabadia says, not just aiming a gun, you're aiming a hunting rifle at a person. If that doesn't sound like enough evidence to say that this person is trying to take somebody else's life, I don't know what else is. That's just me. Salaki. Let's keep going. Brandon and his brother Cody Giffen, both in their 20s, were charged with first-degree murder in a young man's death. Cody was sentenced to 4 years in prison on March 16th, 2021, after his August 2020 manslaughter guilty plea. Good night. Salaki, let me read that again. Cody was sentenced to 4 years in prison after his August 2020 manslaughter guilty plea. So this man pleaded guilty to manslaughter, which, correct me if I'm wrong, manslaughter is different from first-degree murder. But this person, Salaki, not brother, this person, this devil, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was given 4 years in prison. Let's keep reading. According to an agreed statement of facts, Ayoungman sold Cody a pack of cigarettes for $20. But Cody complained that the pack wasn't full, prompting a fight outside the King Eddie pub in Strathmore, which spilled over to an apartment building. Cody involved his older brother Brandon, who emerged from his apartment with a hunting rifle, causing Ayoungman and his friends to flee in a truck driven by Brianna Crawler. Crawler tried to evade the Giffins, driving through Strathmore and ending up south of the town on the highway. Cody pulled over, and Brandon exited the vehicle and fired a shot, striking and killing Ayoungman. Salakia. So this brother, this is a child of God. This is a child of the Most High. This is a child of the nation of Israel. This brother right here, he would be a Gadite from the tribe of Gad, according to the Bible. This brother allegedly sold these devils a pack of cigarettes, and they claimed this pack of cigarettes was missing a couple cigarettes. And that is what enraged them so much to chase this brother down in a vehicle and fire a hunting rifle at him. Now, I don't know the rest of the story. I don't know the full story of what went on that night. But I will say, Salakia for my language, that's a whole bunch of fuckery. That, man, this is a sad story. And I don't know if I can really give the words to define what took place that night. But what I will say is that the Bible absolutely has a solution for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You brothers and sisters who are caught up in that Christian church, or caught up in the Islam, or caught up following the government's policies and legislation, thinking that voting is going to help you. To me, these are some of the difficult questions that we got to ask our leaders and say, what is the solution to this? How do we stop our young men and young women getting shot in the streets? Like this young man, I think he was 24. He was a 24-year-old hockey player. Now, what is the solution to our people getting gunned down in the streets? This isn't just from the police, but this is from these devils, this oppressor. Salaki, I don't want to get this YouTube channel banned. But there is a group of people, there is a nation of people who have been literally hunting our steps over here in North and South Central America. You understand? Salaki. I'm gonna pull up a verse because I don't think I've ever seen a Christian pastor read this in his Sunday school sermon, or whatever you want to call it. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 18. And it reads, "They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets." This is what the Bible says. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. These two devils brought out a hunting rifle and shot this brother down in the streets over some goddamn cigarettes. You understand? I've never heard a Christian pastor pull out this verse. But the Bible says that there are people who hate us. There are people who hate the children of God. The children of God have enemies, according to the Most High. Why is your pastor telling you God loves everybody? Why is your pastor telling you to unite with everybody? The Bible says there are people who hunt our steps. And your Christian pastor is going to bring all nations of people into the same church building. Your pastor does not follow the Bible. And that's what I was saying earlier about the I.S.U.P.K being the only place that teaches the truth of the Bible. The I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth. Because in the I.S.U.P.K, if you are not Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you are not coming through our doorsteps. You are not coming to our Passover. You are not coming to our feast days. You are not coming to celebrate with us. You are not coming to sit down in class beside us. My children are never going to bring a heathen from another nation into my house. You understand? My house is a place of safety. This is where my family sleeps. My family eats. This is their place of rest. You understand? The I.S.U.P.K is my place of rest. And the reason these other nations are not coming near us is because Lamentations 4:18 says, they hunt our steps. What does the definition of hunt say? In the Strong's definition, sawad in the Hebrew, to hunt. Hunt eagerly or keenly, to take provision, to lie alongside, that is, in wait. By implication, to catch an animal, to victual for a journey, to chase, hunt, soar, take provision. There is a nation of people who is hunting us according to the Most High. And the Most High is telling us that we cannot go on our streets. I don't know a Black household that doesn't have a mother who is terrified of what's going to happen to her boys growing up. I don't know a Black household that didn't have a mother warning their son about the danger that goes on outside in the streets. The Black woman is scared of what's going to happen to our kids with the police. Whether he's going to get into gangs and gun violence and get caught up in drugs and this and that, hanging with the wrong crowd. Worried about all the danger that goes on in these streets. You understand? This is hell for a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man and woman. This is hell because there are people that hunt our steps. Your Christian pastor is not going to teach you that. You understand? Let's keep reading this article. Hall said Brandon was sober and an experienced hunter, knowing there was a risk of death if the bullet hit the truck. Who is Hall? Is Hall the judge? Come on. Justice Robert Hall was the judge. So the judge said that he couldn't conclude that this man knew that he was going to take this brother's life. Here's another contradicting statement that the judge said. The judge said Brandon was sober. Brandon is the man who pulled the trigger. The judge said Brandon was sober and an experienced hunter, knowing there was a risk of death if the bullet hit the truck. His rifle was deadly and significantly long range. He aimed at the truck and he pulled the trigger. As a hunter, he knew how incredibly dangerous it is to aim and fire a rifle in anyone's direction, Hall said. So why is it that this judge couldn't conclude that this man was trying to take another man's life? Now, this story is in Salakia. I think it said Saskatchewan, or where is this? This may have been Alberta. This is near Alberta. This is near Alberta. Understand? I'm going to read that one more time. The judge said his rifle was deadly and significantly long range. He aimed at the truck and he pulled the trigger. As a hunter, he knew how incredibly dangerous it is to aim and fire a rifle in anyone's direction. Good night. I'm still curious as to know why this judge could conclude that this man was not intoxicated, he wasn't high, he wasn't drunk, he was an experienced hunter, meaning he probably had a hunting license. He probably goes out and he purchases licenses every year to go and hunt moose and deer and duck and whatever those so-called Europeans hunt. He probably does it every year. He was an experienced hunter who aimed and pulled a trigger at a child of God, and this judge could not conclude that this man knew he was going to take his life. I don't got to say much more than that. Let's keep reading. However, the shot was taken at a distance of what I found to be 150 to 200 yards in the dark of night at a truck that was speeding away from the accused. As I have found, the accused intended to hit the truck, but I seriously doubt that the accused expected to hit the truck. Hall said Brandon and Cody were actively engaged in chasing the victim's group out of Strathmore. The accused states he pulled the trigger to scare them. I didn't even mean to hit the car. So this experienced hunter aimed a rifle at a man and claims he didn't even mean to hit the car that was beside him. Well, what were you aiming at then? Let's watch a quick video on a little of this story.
Welcome to Fantasy.
You understand? This story is madness. And what's crazy is that if you join the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, you will understand that some of these stories aren't even a surprise. It's hard to be surprised when you're in the truth. When you understand the things going on in this world. When you understand what the Most High is doing. When you understand who hates you and who is your friend, who is your brother and who is your enemy. When we read a verse like, they hunt our steps, we understand these people hate us. We understand that there is a group of people hunting us, who are out to kill us. Understand? Let's watch this video.
Bring a sense of familiarity to a family that needs it.
Every time court comes, it brings back all those memories of that day, and it changed my life and our entire life forever.
The vibrancy of song, dance, and words of support, a stark difference to the rigid and at times cold process of a first-degree murder trial that continues meters away. Brandon Giffen accused of killing Kristian, Ayoungman, their friend, teammate, and son.
It helps us to heal in a sense, but it helps us knowing that other people have been impacted, that they care, and they're showing their support.
So compassionate and caring, and he loved what he did no matter what it was, and he always made others feel comfortable no matter what it was. It's just hard to keep going on without that presence and that person in our dressing room, and then not just our dressing room, just in life in general.
Friday, testimony was heard from a ballistics witness. A young man was killed after Brandon Giffen fired a rifle following a chase outside a Strathmore bar. The defense arguing that while Giffen fired the shot, he had no intention of killing a young man after an argument that started over a package of cigarettes.
He has to own up to what he's done, and it was wrong. He took a life.
It's expected that the trial will come to a close in the coming days, a brutal process for Ayoungman's loved ones who are trying to put faith in the system to do justice by Kristian. Jenna Freeman, Global News.
No. I'm gonna bring up just a quick side note, quick story of a brother named Lionel Tate. Lionel Tate, for brothers and sisters who live in the States, they're very familiar with this story. Brothers and sisters in Canada, maybe not so much. Definitely brothers in the I.S.U.P.K. We know every story going on. Every story that is published, that we're able to read about or watch videos of, we talk about it, we read it, we play the videos because we love our people. We're here to shed light on the things going on in the world. So There's a story of a brother named Lionel Tate. And what happened to Lionel Tate, he was, let me see if I can find a quick, so Lionel Tate was a man who was quote unquote wrestling with I think the girl was 16 years old. This brother was 13 years old, wrestling with a 6-year-old. And he said that he was trying to copy his favorite movies from wrestling, his favorite moves from wrestling. Maybe he was watching the WWF, the WWE, and whatever other wrestling. Maybe he was watching the Olympics wrestling, and he was trying to copy his favorite moves from these wrestling shows. And this 13-year-old boy ended up killing this 6-year-old girl. Now, this brother, at the age of 13 years old, was given a life sentence. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. He was convicted of first-degree murder. That judge concluded that 13-year-old boy was worthy of life in prison for accidentally killing a young child while they were wrestling. Which is, to me, that's madness. 13 years old. These brothers, I don't know if it has the age of them, but if I'm not mistaken, they were in their 20s. They chased a man down, gunned him down, and the one man was given 4 years. 4 years in prison. That's madness. Let's keep reading. So this is Hall. Hall is the judge. Says Brandon and Cody were actively engaged in chasing the victim's group out of Strathmore. The accused states he pulled the trigger to scare them. I didn't even mean to hit the car, Hall said. Melody, Ayoungman, says, my son didn't deserve this. This mother said the justice system failed again. Big time, she said. This mother said, let me repeat, the justice system failed again. Big time, she said. We're disappointed with the verdict from the judge. But that's on him. It's on the court system. It's not on me. It's not on any of you. It's not on my children. And it's definitely not on my son, she said. You're damn right it's not on you, sis. Let's read. This is what the Most High has to say. And thy mighty men, Salaki, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, and thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. You're damn right, sis, for saying that what the judge decided in that court system, what do they call it? The justice system. That judge was supposed to give you justice for the death of your son. That judge was supposed to give you something that was fair, something that was equal, something that would help you rest at night, something that would help you grieve your son's death, something that would help this sister deal with the loss of her son. That judge played a part in this woman's mourning, in this woman's grieving. And what did the justice system of Canada do? The justice system of Canada gave a man 4 years in prison for taking the life of this daughter of Zion's son. She says the justice system failed again. Big time, she said. You're damn right the justice system failed. Let's grab. This is what the Most High has to say. Let's grab the book of Genesis. Genesis 9 and verse 6. Genesis chapter 9 and verse 6 says, whoso sheddeth man's blood, meaning whatever person on earth sheds another man's blood, takes another man's life, kills, murders another human being, any man's life. This is what the Most High says. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. The Most High says, if you take another man's life, something that is just, something that is fair, equal in weight, equal in balance, is that another man is to take his life. You understand? When the men of the Lord are ruling this earth, when Christ returns and establishes his kingdom, the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K are going to take the lives of the people that shed another man's life. You understand? Though that man that pulled the trigger, he deserves somebody taking out a hunting rifle, pointing it at his head, and taking his life. That is justice. That is what the judge should have decided. That's justice. You understand? The justice system failed big time. The mother says, my son didn't deserve this. His life was taken wrongfully. What happened to him? He was murdered. Anyone that's going to aim a gun, any type of rifle, you get a license to go hunting. They teach you not to aim it where there are human beings, Ayoungman said. My son and his friends were chased around through Strathmore by these boys who had a hunting rifle, a high-powered hunting rifle, in their car. They didn't stop. They had numerous chances to stop, turn around, and not to do this. The person that took my son's life was sober. He definitely knew what he was doing. This mother says, Ayoungman said despite her disappointment, she is going to continue on with her healing journey. That is a tough thing for that sister to deal with. Salaki, one second. You understand? That is a tough thing for anybody to deal with. Now, I don't know. I've been looking up, trying to find out the verdict on the other brother. It says he was convicted of manslaughter, not first-degree murder. So one of the brothers got 4 years in prison. If anybody has more information on this story, go ahead and send it to the email in the chat. You understand? I'll definitely be following this story if I can find any more information on it. You can believe that the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, we are going to talk about it. We're going to get you the news. Every Sunday we got a podcast. We got a podcast just talking about what's going on in Canada. The men of the Lord will just cover stories and topics of things happening in Canada. You understand? And we'll definitely be covering this story. So this sister, this Gadite sister did not get justice. You understand? Justice is a man's life for a man's life. Tooth for tooth, eye for eye. Something fair, something just. You understand? That is what this sister deserves. And this is why the Most High is going to destroy that nation of people. You understand? The Bible says there is no fornicator, nor Salaki, how's that verse go? There is no other person who is as profane as Esau. There's no other nation who is as profane and wicked as the nation of Esau, the nation of Idumea, the nation of Esau. They are the wicked of the earth. They are vessels of dishonor. You understand? They have no honor. They are wicked. They are the devil the Bible speaks of. Your pastor would have you believing that the devil is some red cartoon character, some demon character with a tail and some pitchfork. And the Bible lets you know who the wicked of the earth is. The Bible says even the birds, the beasts, the animals of the earth know who the wicked of the earth is. They know the nation of people who has been raping, robbing, and murdering, sucking this earth dry of everything it has, hunting and making animals go extinct, hunting down and committing mass genocide on nations of people. 9/11 happened, and they killed millions of women and children, thousands of women and children who had nothing to do with 9/11. This nation of people slaughtered over 90 million blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Over 90 million blacks. Over 70 million Native Indians. Mass genocide. Committing the true Holocaust on the earth. You understand? It was said that Hitler watched what the British were doing so that he could learn how to conquer a nation. Hitler was very small, but they would have you believe that he was the most evil, wicked bastard on earth. Well, Hitler learned from somebody. Hitler learned from the British. He watched what the British did to the Native Indians. He watched what the British did to the blacks, the Negroes, the children of Judah, the children of Benjamin, the children of Levi. Hitler watched what the British did and learned from them. You understand? The Bible tells you who the wicked of the earth is. And these people need to be slaughtered, need to be cut off. Justice needs to happen for all the evil that they do on the earth. You understand? It's a sad thing what happened to this brother. And it's a sad thing for what that family has to go through. This is why the I.S.U.P.K is so important. The I.S.U.P.K is the safe place for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? The I.S.U.P.K teaches the truth of the Bible. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. And it reads, "Never trust thine enemy." It doesn't say sometimes trust your enemy. It doesn't say maybe trust your enemy. The prophets of God who spoke the words of the Most High, who were the mouthpiece for the Most High. They spoke and wrote down what the Most High had to say to the children of Israel. They wrote down and said what should have been spoken to this brother who was gunned down. Never trust thine enemy. Never. Don't do it. That's a commandment from the Most High. The Most High commands you to love yourself. The Most High commands you to be wise, to make good decisions. The Most High commands you to look out for yourself. Your Christian pastor isn't going to teach you how to look out for yourself. Your Christian pastor isn't going to tell you not to love your enemy, not to trust your enemy. Your Christian pastor is going to teach you how to hate yourself. But the men of the Lord are going to tell you the words of what the Most High said. And he said, never trust thine enemy. Don't do it. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. The Most High told us, who can make straight what he has made crooked? These people are evil. Every man, woman, and child from that nation, they are evil. That judge was probably a devil. If that judge was a devil, he is evil. You see some two-year-old European girl walking by, guess what? She is evil. She is going to grow up one day, and when she is 20 years old, she is going to call the police. And she is going to say, a black man is trying to rape me. And then more of those evil bastards are going to get in a plane and drop bombs on your city. Isn't that what they did in Oklahoma? You got people that are going to look at I.S.U.P.K and say, oh, y'all brothers are crazy. What happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma was so long ago. Well, guess what? The I.S.U.P.K, we have continued to bring out and read stories of what is going on today. Today, there are 10,000 children in foster care system in Winnipeg. 90% of them are the children of God. These devils forced them on reservations, stole everything that they had, put them on a land where they went to die, and now that they're impoverished and have nothing, the government says, you aren't suitable to take care of your children. So we are going to take them and put them in foster care. And we are going to teach them Christianity. We are going to teach them to put on a suit and a tie. We are going to teach them how to speak another language. We are going to remove their culture out of them. We are going to kill the Indian. We are going to kill the savage. We are going to destroy your family. This is happening today. Today. 2 weeks ago, a man was given 4 years, a 4-year sentence for taking the life of a child of God. Oh, but we're crazy in the I.S.U.P.K. We got too much hate in the I.S.U.P.K. What we have in the I.S.U.P.K is love for our people. What Commanding General YAHANNA is teaching the brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K is to have compassion on people. Something that your oppressor does not want you to have. Your oppressor does not want you to care that the native Indians do not have clean drinking water. That the children of God in Flint, Michigan do not have clean drinking water. Your oppressor wants you to forget all the crimes that he does to you. Meanwhile, turn around and say, never forget 9/11. Because he does not have compassion for you. That devil is your enemy, according to the Bible. He doesn't love you. He hunts your steps. In the I.S.U.P.K, we have compassion for our people. This is why we're teaching brotherhood. This is why we're teaching brothers and sisters to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Because these instructions that the Most High gave us, they are here to help us. They are here to guide us. What does one of the commandments say? Let's read it again. Never trust thine enemy. The Most High is commanding us to love ourselves. Christ said to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you would keep the laws of the Most High, you would never trust your enemy. And you would teach your brothers and sisters to never trust their enemy, because you would love them as yourself. You would have compassion for them. You would understand the life they're going through, the life they're living. The I.S.U.P.K, we understand what they're going through. We understand what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are going through in this hell. And for that, we are teaching, we are giving solutions. We are teaching the black and Hispanic man how to love themselves, how to be a man and stand up and fight for their people. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 1. You understand? Quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Trooper Brock, Ya Allah. Yabba Shemir Shabrak Tha. For water for tuning in, warrior. You understand? It is a very sad thing what happened to this brother. You understand? But this sister who lost her son, I pray she understands that justice is coming. You understand? Revelation says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Meaning if you take another nation and you bring them into slavery, into captivity, the Most High says you are going to go into captivity. You understand? Christians are going around saying, why would you want another nation of people to go into captivity? Because that is justice. Have some damn compassion on your brothers and sisters. Have some compassion for what happened to the children of God. Have some compassion on the brothers and sisters who had lynch mobs chasing them down. Have some compassion on what happened to the native Indians who were forced off their land, who died, who had a mass genocide from smallpox. These devils in the residential schools said 10% of all the children in residential schools were dying of disease. And that number was not enough to stop the Canadian government and these Catholic, the Catholic, what would you call it? The Catholic religion or the Catholic Institute. That number was not enough to close down those residential schools. If your child was taken from you and forced onto a residential school or a boarding school, 10%, there was a 10% chance your child was going to die from disease. But that didn't stop them. Have some compassion on your people. The things that goes on in our communities is disgusting. And the Most High says, if you lead a nation into captivity, you will go into captivity. Justice is coming for all the children of slaves, for all the men and women who were put into slavery. Justice is coming. And there is a nation of people who is going into slavery. Something is going to happen that is going to help brothers and sisters deal with all the chaos that went on, all the killing that went on, all the evil that went on, all the sisters who were raped during slavery, all the brothers who were buck broken. There is justice coming. All those things that happened to us, the Most High says justice is coming. Be patient. These oppressors don't give us justice, but the Most High will. The verse goes on to say, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Why? Because if you shed a man's blood, your blood must be shed. That's justice. That man who took out that hunting rifle and killed, murdered a child of God, justice is coming. You understand? To that sister who lost her son, justice is coming. And you're not going to get it from your enemy. You're not going to get justice from your enemy, from those that hate you, from those that oppress you. Justice is coming from the Most High, which is why he says, here is the patience and faith of the saints. Be patient. Have faith. The Most High is going to deal with these devils. The Most High is going to give you justice. The Most High is going to give you peace. He's going to give you rest. What does Psalm say? What Revelation say? He's going to wipe every tear from your eye. You understand? Justice is coming. You understand? And not only is justice coming, but we are establishing Christ's kingdom. Christ told his disciples that the kingdom doesn't come through observation. Meaning, we can't just sit around and wait for Christ to come and do nothing. We have a job to do. We got to build our nation back up. We have to build our kingdom from the ground up. We got to come back together and unite. Zephaniah 2:1 says, "Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired." You understand? Every Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, we need to gather together. We need to unite, to stand up and fight for our wives and our children. Because there is a people that hates us. There are nations that consult together with one consent to destroy us. And we need to gather together and unite. We need to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Father so that He will fight for us. Just like He did for us when we came out of Egypt. You're a Black man living in the ghetto. You were living in the ghetto in Egypt. And the Most High fought for you and freed you out of that captivity, freed you out of that bondage. You're a Hispanic man living in a barrio. There was a time you were living in a barrio in Egypt, and the Most High fought for you, divided the Red Sea for you, sent His angels to look out for us. You're a Native American man living in a reservation. There was a time you were living on a reservation in Egypt. And the Most High came and fought for you and pulled you out of Egypt and defeated the Egyptians, slaughtered the firstborn of every Egyptian child. The Most High went to war for you. And that is what we need today. That is a solution for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The solution is to get in the I.S.U.P.K and learn to keep the law, statutes, and commandment. Learn to obey your father. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to love your brothers and sisters. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 58. 58 and verse 1. Isaiah 58 and verse 1 says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins." The Most High is telling Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to cry aloud. You understand? Salakia. Salakia. The Most High is telling the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to cry aloud. You understand? Why does it say cry? We cry because we want to help our people. Why would you cry aloud? Because this sister just lost her son to a devil who gunned him down, chased him down in a car, and shot him with a hunting rifle. Why would we cry aloud? Because what happened to that brother is disgusting. Why would we cry aloud? Because the so-called oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Why would we cry aloud? To warn our people of the danger that is around them. Why would we cry aloud? Because our people are suffering. Our people need healing. Our people have a lot of tears. Our people are living in hell. We cry aloud because we have compassion on one another. We understand the pain. We understand the living conditions of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We understand what that sister is going through, who didn't get justice. 4 years in prison for manslaughter. We cry aloud because we have compassion on one another. And this is what the Most High is commanding us to do. You understand? It says, cry aloud. This is the prophet Isaiah speaking the words of the Most High. Spare not. Why does he say spare not? We cry because of all the destruction going on. And these things that are going on are more important than your feelings. That 20-year-old man who was gunned down, it is more important to speak about what went on to that brother than you being worried about your feelings. So many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians today are walking around saying, I don't want to hear about what's going on. I don't want to hear about the gun violence and the murder that's going on in our community. I don't want to talk about all the drugs that are in our community, the alcoholism, the cigarettes, all the things that are destroying our people. Nobody wants to talk about it. They want to live in La La Land. They want to live in their blissful life, in their bubble. They don't want to hear things that are offensive. They don't want to hear that the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. I was speaking to a sister and I was talking about all the evils of slavery. And this sister said, yeah, what those people did to our people is evil. I talked about all the animals going extinct. She said, yeah, what's happening to those animals that is done from those people is evil. I talked about all the pollution, all the water they're polluting, the air they're polluting. That sister said, what they're doing is evil. I talked about the police murdering our people. I talked about the drugs that the government stuck in our communities. That sister said, yeah, that's evil. Then I said to that sister, did you know that they are the devil the Bible speaks of? What did she say? No, you can't say that. I don't want to hear that. How could you say that about those people? Not all of them are evil. Not all of them are bad. Our people don't want to hear it. I was speaking to a Haitian brother, a brother from the tribe of Levi. And what did that brother say? You can't have hate in your heart, brother. It's not a good thing to hate those people. You can't be walking around with all this hate, calling them devils. Our people don't want to hear it. Well, guess what? That brother who was gunned down by that devil, that is more important than how you feel. That is more important than what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. This is why Isaiah said, spare not. In the ISUPK, we go to the streets and we don't spare your feelings. We don't spare what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. Because there's something more important. There's something to cry aloud about. That brother who was gunned down is worthy of crying aloud about. We don't give a damn about what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. Because we are going to have compassion and love for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Hey, shalom, Officer Adia, Yabashim Ashai Brakatham. Shalom, Adawan Thawada for tuning in. You understand? It says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. You understand? The ISUPK, we follow what the prophet said. We follow what Christ commanded us. We follow what the Most High commanded us. We lift up our voices like trumpets because we have a lot to say. We have something important to say. And we're going to talk about it regardless of what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. Too many of us were raised to be passive, raised to be soft, raised to be effeminate in that Christian church, raised to love, to hate ourselves, raised not to look out for our people. We got to end all that. You understand? Just cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression. Because that is a solution for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. To get in the ISUPK and learn to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 9 and verse 12. You understand? Just for time's sake, I'm going to try to run through some of these verses. You understand? But ISUPK, we have the solution for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And that solution is brotherhood. Matthew 9 and 12 says, but when Yahushua heard that, when Christ heard that, he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. You understand? I broke that down earlier, but again to say, our people are sick out here. You understand? Our people are lost out here. Our people are doing all manner of wickedness. And these are the people that need help. You got your pastors telling you that salvation is for everybody. Why is your pastor telling you to go find that white man who owns a $20 million yacht, who has everything in the world that he needs, living in his kingdom. Why is your pastor telling you to go save that man? He gets sick, he spends $300,000 for the best doctor in the world to come take care of him. You understand? Why is your pastor telling you that that man needs salvation? Christ said, "They that be whole need not a physician." And this is why Christians don't think they need a physician. Your pastor is teaching you that you're whole, that you're righteous, that you don't need to learn something, that you don't need to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Your pastor is teaching you that you're healthy, that you're whole. This is why Christians don't want to hear what we have to say. They're proud, just like the Pharisees. They don't think they're sick. A Christian doesn't think that they're sick. You understand? Christ said, "They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick." The men in the ISUPK, we are going on the streets, crying aloud, sparing not, blowing the trumpet, sounding the alarm, warning our people that there are people that hate us, that there are people that are hunting our steps, that are people that are trying to destroy us, that there are nations gathering together, consulting with one another on how they can destroy us and set traps for us, to catch us slipping, to destroy us. We are going to those that are sick. We are going to those who have drug addictions, those who are struggling with alcoholism, going to those that are sick and giving them a solution. You understand? In that story, it said that that brother was playing hockey. He was on a hockey team. Why do you think he was playing hockey? Because his parents probably told him his whole life that you'll make it out of this place if you become a hockey player. You learn to be a good hockey player, maybe you'll make it out of this hell. Because his parents understood that we are holy, we are set apart. We have special gifts, special talents. And maybe if you learn to use your special gifts and special talents, you can use that to make money. You can use that to entertain these oppressors and get out of this reservation, get out of the ghettos, out of the barrios. That brother was probably a damn good hockey player. And his life was ended at the age of 24 by his oppressor. You understand? Our people are out here sick. Christ said, "Go to those that are lost, to heal the sick, defend the poor, have compassion on those who are struggling." This is what we do in the I.S.U.P.K. Verse 13 says, but go ye and learn what that meaneth. You understand? You're a daughter of Zion, a black, Hispanic, or Native woman Indian, going out there whoring yourselves, playing the harlot, sleeping with every man in the world. You got to learn how to be healed. You got to learn how to get off drugs. You got to learn how to stop being alcoholics. You got to learn how to stop whoring yourself, how to shut your damn mouth. Stop acting like a bitch. Stop being a bitch. To close your mouth and close your legs. You understand? We got to learn how to get out of these conditions. And this is what we learn in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? We're not going to spare your feelings in the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go to John chapter 7 and verse 24. John 7 and 24 says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. You understand? As we show compassion to brothers and sisters, you understand, we can't judge according to appearance. We can't just look at a brother and sister and come to the conclusion that he's not a child of God because of how he looks. That's what this oppressor taught us. Our oppressor taught us to look at skin color, to call ourselves black, call himself white. They taught us colorism. You understand? We got to learn true brotherhood. We got to shake off the philosophies of this oppressor. You understand? Let's drop that. Let's go to Proverbs 17 and verse 17. You understand? I'm going to try to run through these verses really quick because we're going to end the class in just under 10 minutes. So let's go to Proverbs 17 and 17. It says, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. That brother who lost his life, you got to understand that a brother is born for adversity. In the I.S.U.P.K, we came into this school, we put on all black, and we shed ourselves of the world. We shed ourselves of the philosophies that we used to have. We stopped acting the way we used to act. We stopped thinking the way we used to think. And we became born again, new creatures. Just as we came out of our mother's womb, we were born, we were given new names. In the world, I acted one way and thought one way. All the filth and wickedness I was doing. I came into the school and was born, Shariawan. And I was born for adversity. Let's look up the definition of adversity. This is the, let's go to the Merriam. This is the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. It says, a state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. This is adversity. A state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. That is what I was born for. When your parents birth you, when you come into this world, you were born for adversity. What are some synonyms? Misfortune, bad luck, trouble, difficulty, hardship, distress, disaster, misadventure, suffering, affliction, sorrow, misery, heartbreak, heartache, wretchedness, tribulation, woe, pain, trauma, torment, torture, mishap. This is what we were born for. We were born for war. We were born to help our brothers and sisters. We were born to help them in their misfortune, their hardship, their suffering, their affliction, their sorrow, their misery. Brotherhood is a weapon. You understand? Let's read that again. This is Proverbs 17:17. It says, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. This is what the men in the I.S.U.P.K were born for. To help our people, to fight for our people, to cry aloud, spare not, show some compassion for one another, fight for one another, suffer with one another, or suffer for one another. We were born here for adversity of our brothers and sisters. You understand? Salakia. And with that, we're at a time, we'll end the class there. You understand? Brothers and sisters, we got to get in the I.S.U.P.K and learn to love each other. You understand? Brotherhood is a weapon. Sisterhood is a weapon. This is what this class is all about. Teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians how to fight for each other. How to unite and fight against these oppressors. Fight against our enemies. Fight this spiritual battle. Fight all this spiritual wickedness. Fight all these philosophies that have brothers getting into homosexuality, sisters getting into homosexuality, brothers strung out on drugs, sisters strung out on drugs. We got to learn to go to war against these things. You understand? We got to learn how to fight these things, to fight all these traps that our oppressor puts in front of us. You understand? This is what the I.S.U.P.K provides to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All right. So that's Tuesday's night brotherhood class. We're going to end the class there. Let's clap it up. We'll give the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, which was started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find that in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, freewill offering for priests, is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We got the Memorial of Blowing of Trumpets, which is on September, Monday the 6th. Understand? That is a feast day, a holy day that the Most High commands us to keep. And with that said, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M, which means stand. We're going to first give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat, I.M.A.J.M Barak, Yahweh Shem Yashar Barakatham, Yad Yamatah. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat, I.M.A.J.M Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alafan B'Shem Yahshai, Yad Yamatah. Class dismissed.